Okay, all right, everyone, welcome to Medicine Buddha Practice. Um, if you're new, especially welcome. Um, as always, feel free to say hello in the chat. And please go ahead, if you have any prayer requests that you would like to lift up in our practice tonight, please go ahead and add those to the chat as well. We're going to get started pretty soon. We're going to end at 8 tonight. Um, I have something, another thing to attend to tonight. Um, so we'll get started probably in about less than 10 minutes. So again, welcome. Please um, just get yourself in a position that feels appropriate. Wherever that means. Um, as we all know, this is MLK Day. Um, I just live um, like probably a mile and a half, maybe less than a mile and a half from the National King Center, and where Dr. King lived with his family, and of course Ebenezer Baptist Church. So I literally live like that way, straightforward. So it's nice to be in the area, the neighborhood today. Um, what else? So we're gonna do just mostly practice today. I'm not gonna get super involved. Just in the talk. If there are questions, I can do those next week as well. It'd be nice to like do a little more practice today than so much talking. But I will say this as people are coming into the room and getting ready. Um, so when we talk about um, the legacy of Dr. King, and by the way, watching, I think a really nice, appropriate thing to watch would be I Am Not Your Negro, which is the James Baldwin, kind of documentary, which is actually just like a meditation, really, meditation reflection documentary. It's on Netflix and Amazon, and I think maybe Hulu. Um, it's a really, really nice thing to reflect on. I watch that documentary several times a year, just on routine, because it just reminds me of the work that people have been doing in terms of restoring a kind of love and compassion and hope to the world and to our communities. Um, but specifically, in terms of along the lines of what we've been talking about for weeks now, these great beings like Dr. King or Harriet Tubman or Sojourner Truth, people like this throughout history, have been quite extraordinary beings, right? Um, that they've been really more than just human. These have been really awakened beings who have emanated into the world to do something in particular, right? Um, and I just think that's always really important to understand that, many of these great folks met really kind of tragic or like violent ends, but sometimes, we have to understand that their work that they came here to do had finished. So I think Dr. King left because what he needed to do had been done, right? And we would say, oh, if he would have, lived longer, there would have been this and this and that. But that's not how this really works in the scheme of things, right? You know, um, Beings come into the world for something specific, and sometimes we don't understand what that is. Sometimes it actually is often unseen, right? Because there are many beings, right? Many realized beings who are working and doing things, and we'll never know who they are, and what they are, and we'll never maybe notice the impact of the work that they're doing, and they don't have to be celebrated or known or recognized for them to do the work that they're doing, but the work is really keeping us on track, right? Um, there's so many beings here in so many different forms who are keeping us on track. And then there are a whole bunch of beings on the other end who are trying to throw us off track. So, um, so being in the relative world is always about balance. Like this is about balance, right? If there's great light, if there's a great light like Dr. King, you have to understand there's going to be a great darkness to counterbalance, right? That light, and that's the rule. One of the rules of being in conditioned um, samsaric existence, right? You have to deal with the law of balance, right? Of course, it doesn't matter once you hit enlightenment, return back to the essence, right, of who you are. Then there's no such thing as light and dark, but outside of the enlightened state, there certainly is duality. You know, there is the mother, the sacred mother. There's also the sacred father, right? Um, and we always have to remember the balance. Now, the father and the mother isn't about light and dark, but it's about duality. You know, that if there's one, there's the other. So that's it's important to just always keep in mind. If there's one, there's the other. If there's great light, there's going to be great darkness as well. Um, but in any case, we celebrate the work of these great beings, who were very much doing much more than we will ever understand and realize, more than can ever be captured in scholarship and in the history. You know, um, but in some ways, their work isn't so invisible if you have the tools um, to perceive that work, right? Um, so yeah, it's so it's quite fascinating. It's fascinating. It's profound. It's amazing um, to reflect on that, on the true work of these beings who come into this world. You know, sometimes the true work isn't what's being celebrated, right? Because the work was so complex that we really didn't understand it. We don't understand it. You know. So, in any case, again, welcome everyone into the room. Go ahead and put your prayer request in. We're going to get started like soon now. We're going to be ending at 8, ending our practice tonight at 8, or and at the top of the next hour, just because I have um, like another thing to attend to tonight that's important. So, okay. We'll do questions next week as well. So again, if you're new, welcome. We're going to be so this is a guided practice, and these practices, some of the stuff that a lot of the stuff that we will move through are things that we've just been practicing for since we've been gathering for almost going on 2 years. It'll be 2 years in April, I think. Um, So, of course, we began our Medicine Buddha practice, our Monday night Medicine Buddha practice, because of just as a way to practice with the pandemic. And of course, we still have more to practice with as the pandemic continues, but much more than the pandemic, just injustice and sicknesses and death and so forth, that we're practicing for. So, we're going to actually begin now. We're going to begin our practice now, and you can continue to add prayer requests as well. But as we begin, I just invite you to allow yourself to come into a position that feels appropriate. Of course, you're not on camera, so you can just be arranged any way that you want, lying down or whatever it may be. Some people like to stand up and practice, or just sit in a formal meditation posture. That's fine. Everything is fine. And we can continue by calling ourselves into the space. And this is a really important practice for me. Sometimes I feel as if when I sit and start practicing, I'm just wandering all over the place. My mind is, just involved in all kinds of stuff, but it has nothing to do with what's happening now. And so when I call myself back into this moment, for some of us, we're calling ourselves back from being in other places as well. So I'll call myself back, and as I call myself back, I just allow my intention to really ground itself in really the weight of my body, just noticing the weight of my body making contact with the seat under me. And allowing that sensation of the body making contact with the seat to really hold your attention, allowing your attention to come back into this particular timeline. And what do you notice when you call yourself back? What are you noticing that you haven't noticed? And when you're ready, shifting your attention even further down into the earth, right? So our attention begins to touch the earth under us. And again, this is an energetic experience, right? So it's not that you're physically touching the earth. You may be, like my feet are on the floor. The floor is an extension of the earth. So I'm physically touching the earth, right? Or you may be lying on the floor or something like that. But when our attention touches the earth, the energy of our consciousness begins to acknowledge and touch the consciousness of the earth, which is in many ways the earth element. And sometimes we try to force we want to have an experience of our attention touching the earth, but it doesn't have to be an experience. It can just be a kind of a faith, right? A faith that says, oh, if I have the intention of acknowledging touching the earth through my attention, then I am, and you are. And that's all that's needed. That's all that we're trying to do, is to acknowledge the earth. And as you touch the earth, reflect on the earth, the land under you. You know, who's lived on this land? What communities have survived on this land? What communities have been removed? Over time, when you're really deepening in this practice, the earth the land under you can just start telling its story, start telling you its history, its joy and its sorrow, its pain and happiness, and so forth. And I wonder if you can trust the land to hold you as we move deeper into practice. Can you trust your seat to hold you? And I wonder if you can even trust your body to stay present. Because the body is always present, the body is always in this time, in this moment. It's our minds, right, that wander all over through the future, into the past. But the body, particularly the neutral expressions of the body, can really hold our attention and thus begins to focus the mind into this moment. And of course, it's just not one moment, it's one moment after the other. So it's a succession of moments, staying present to each moment. And over time, you keep staying and sticking with each moment over and over and over again until you realize there's no such thing as a moment. There's no such thing as time. And you learn how to just to simply be, just to be here. And we can shift our attention now to our gratitude practice. We began our practice by reflecting on what we're grateful for, who and what we're grateful for, or even reflecting on all the ways that we are the recipients of so much labor and kindness from countless beings, both living and dead, both seen and unseen. And as I talked about light earlier at the beginning of our time together, this is one of the ways that we align ourselves with the light. It's through gratitude. Gratitude for what is liberatory, gratitude for what is nurturing, gratitude for what is freeing, grounding. Gratitude for clarity, wisdom, care. This is how we align ourselves with the light. And so this energy of gratitude, which is actually just a state, gratitude is a state, but it's also, the state is also energetic, so we can begin to feel, connect to this awakening of gratitude energy in our experience, in our minds, in our bodies. And I allow myself to sit within this energy of gratitude. What does it feel like, rather, to allow yourself to be held? It's like stepping into water, right? If you go into water, right? A jacuzzi or something warm or whatever, and we allow the water to rise to meet us, to hold us, to allow the water to float us, right? To care for us. And this is a way that we can think about being held by the energy of gratitude. What does it feel like to just submerge ourselves deeply into this energy? So this energy is not just holding us, but it's deeply saturating us. We're filling with this energy of gratitude, and it's beginning to radiate from our bodies because we're so full of gratitude. And we can begin to share this energy of gratitude down into the earth, thanking the earth for its care. And we can begin to share this energy of gratitude with any being, particularly beings that need gratitude, that need this energy of awakening. Ultimately, the awakened aspect of gratitude practice is to be grateful for everything. That's the awakened advanced practice, to be grateful for everything, which is simply to say that we are grateful for the essence, the nature of everything, like the emptiness, the space, the basic energetic luminosity of all phenomena. We begin to be grateful for that. So to be grateful for the essence of everything is, to be grateful for the truth, to be grateful for liberation. That liberation is always present, and that it takes just training to turn our minds to that truthfulness of liberation. So when I'm grateful for something, I am grateful that for the fact that there is nothing arising that doesn't arise from the essence, from the one true nature of all phenomenon. And just for a few moments, right, can we allow our minds, our attention to drift into the essence of all phenomena, into the emptiness, into the openness, into this basic energy I call potential. Back to the place where all phenomena is born. Both the light and the dark all have the same essence. And we get deeper and deeper into the essence of things when we let go of reacting to everything. Letting go of the reactivity, letting go of the labeling, letting go of the categorizing, letting go of the aversion, but also letting go of the fixation on what we want and don't want. But just repositioning ourselves within this basic view that no matter what the thing is, it is still an expression of this basic essence of emptiness and space and energy, this primordial, awakened experience of complete total freedom. And this is what we call the mother, this is what we call the father, this is what we call God, this is what we call Buddha nature. And this is where Medicine Buddha arises, in this basic emptiness, and we call Medicine Buddha into this moment. And we can begin to do that through our first mantra, our invitation mantra, Om Sangye Kino Soha. So again, O Medicine Buddha, Namasangye, Medicine Buddha, Kino, to know, to think of. Right? So Medicine Buddha, please think of me, please see me, please arrive here. Please awaken. Awaken from this essence that we're trying to turn our minds to. Right? So this phrase, turning our minds to the Dharma, is simply saying we are turning our attention to the essence of things. Dharma is just the essence of things. So we'll prepare to chant this opening mantra. And as we chant, even if you're new, to this practice, and for those of you also who are, been doing this for a bit with me, regardless, as we begin to chant, what you're chanting for is for the awakening of the consciousness of Medicine Buddha, to awaken in the space. That consciousness is the awakening of space, of openness, of fluidity. I would say even creativity. To awaken. So to even have the intention to recognize the essence of everything is the same as allowing the deity, Medicine Buddha, to awaken. So we'll begin with the mantra again. Om Minla Sangye Kino Soha. Right? We begin. Om Minla Sangye Kino Soha. Om Minla Sangye Kino Soha. Om Minla Sangye King no Soa. And even if we don't feel anything, I invite you just to trust what we've called Medicine Buddha into the space that Medicine Buddha is awakening, blossoming in the space around us, also within our bodies, within our hearts and minds. So again, to touch emptiness is to touch the deity. To think about Medicine Buddha is to actually acknowledge that Medicine Buddha is present always for us in any time, in any situation. And actually, before we continue even deeper, I would like to actually offer our prayers so that our prayers begin to guide the deepening of the practice. And as always, I call out to all the Buddhas, the Bodhisattvas, the Dharma protectors, the Medicine Buddha, to all the retinues of all the great awakened Buddhas, to all the angels and saints, to all benevolent spirits and ancestors and guides, guardians. I call out to the elements, the earth in particular. I call out to all authentic teachers, spiritual teachers, gurus. Call out to all beings who are invested, aligned, allied with us in this project of liberation for all beings. I call on these beings to listen to our prayers, to work on our behalf, to fulfill the wishes, our intentions for these prayers. We begin our prayers by offering prayers for Alicia, who starts her first day of work tomorrow. May it be a good day, a great day, and a phenomenal day. A prayer of gratitude for life and the artist's journey. I'm praying for my cat, Sita. We offer prayers for my dog, Waylon, who crossed the Rainbow Bridge today into the Bardo and spirit world. May he have a safe journey through the Bardo. Offering prayers for those who work to protect and rescue abused animals. Prayers for the dog I witnessed being abused today. Prayers for myself, having witnessed such a traumatic moment. May the SPCA find the abuser and protect the dog. Offering prayer for all the ancestors who sacrificed so much to keep our bloodlines going, and to win our rights to vote, to read, to thrive, and have to witness where we are today. Offering prayer for those in my life who are dealing with depression and anxiety. May they have all they need to heal and experience liberation. Prayers for Brian, who just received news that he has COVID. Offering prayers for Dr. King and for all revolutionaries known and unknown to us. Offering prayers for my inner child who can one day let go of their fears. Offering prayers for myself and my family to have the courage to stand firmly in the truth, in the present, and breaking cycles of violence. Offering prayers for my mother who is in ICU, who is an ICU nurse and cancer survivor, navigating the pandemic and the stress in our hospital systems right now. Offering prayers for Sydney and their family who are going through a challenging transition of grief and loss. Offering prayers for everyone feeling alone and isolated in these times. We're offering prayers for our young people, educators in our school community, our campus and earth there, the chickens, the bunnies, birds, plants, the soil, the people, the water, the insects. May we be healed and be sources of healing. And offering prayers for Lama Rod, that I may be healed and healed always, held and healed always. And offering prayers for wisdom as I embark on a new path. Prayers for Falcon Collective and for the land in Humboldt neighborhood. Offering prayers for strength and protection for those of us working to change the world. Offering prayers for Claudia, who is doing chemo, for everyone who is unhoused, and for democracy. Offering prayers for Hava Bailey, Joe Ward, Patricia Dalish, Wayne Jiang, Eve, Eve Issen, Rita Marie Lasser. Prayers also for Sue Sneeden and Richard Walker, who recently entered the Bardo. And prayers for myself, my me in particular, and for the feelings of frustration and sadness about our country not stepping up to create a true democracy. We're offering prayers for everyone living through the big snowstorm happening up here, especially the unhoused. May they be safe and warm. Offering prayers for my left shoulder. Shelley's left shoulder fractured. We fractured it last Monday. Prayers for healing of all trans historical trauma. We're offering prayers for the health of all elders and teachers everywhere. We're offering prayers for Elizabeth. We'll just offer prayers for Elizabeth as well. We're offering prayers for the Cox family, one of whom is battling COVID, and the others who are isolated and worried about catching it. May they be healthy and be able to rest from their fear. Offering prayers for Cameron that he may find safe and healthy housing. Also offering prayers for Bill, who is in the hospital awaiting surgery. Offering prayers for my parents, sister, and nephews who are all recovering from COVID. Offering prayers for my sister Judy. We continue to offer prayers for Lorena's mother. Offering prayers for my friend Law, who entered into the Bardo a couple of weeks ago. Also for my friend Devisha. offering prayers for the end of all systematic abuse and violence, prayers to remove all the obstacles for the work that we need to do in order to create a world and a world system of safety, of justice, where all beings have access to the resources that they need to be well. We pray for an end to all disease, all famine, all houselessness. We pray for the light. And not only do we pray for the light, we pray and we call all beings of light into this world to help us balance the overwhelming darkness and everything that streams from that darkness, the hate, the anxiety, the fear, the violence, the isolation. So we continue to pray for the liberation of all beings from all forms of suffering. And I also continue to pray for all of us in this space. For some of our prayers that remain unspoken, unarticulated, that we even offer those prayers now. So turning our attention back into our practice, coming back to our gratitude, coming back to this consciousness of medicine Buddha that we've been practicing to awaken. Again, grounding ourselves on the seat, on the earth. And we let ourselves actually, for a few moments, be held by our intention for the alleviation of suffering of all those we offer prayers for. That the intention, the aspiration, the wish, the desire, this energy of wanting something different to happen, which is an expression of deep compassion, allowing that energy, along with this energy of gratitude, to really begin to radiate from our experience, from our bodies, from our minds. Even in my practice now, imagining that in my heart center, this deep aspiration for all beings to be free, especially all those we've offered prayers for, that this begins to awaken the energy of my heart center, and that this energy, along with the energy of gratitude, begins to radiate from my heart center, from my whole body. And I imagine that this energy is being directed out into the needs of all those that we've offered prayers for. As we begin to do that, we'll turn our attention to our main mantra tonight. Teata Baconze, Maha Baconze, Rasa Sumungate Soha, which is the main mantra of Medicine Buddha, which is simply a prayer to medicine Buddha for healing, for liberation. As we chant, we're just radiating the energy of this intention out into the lives and situations of all those we prayed for. Imagining that these situations are improved, that obstacles are removed, that people get the resources that they need in order to continue we begin. Begenze, ma begenze, lazu sumunga tesua. Te atam begenze, begenze, ma begenze, lazu sumunga tesua. Te atam begenze, begenze, ma begenze, lazu sumunga tesua. Te atam begenze, begenze, ma begenze, lazu sumunga tesua. Te atam begenze, begenze, ma begenze, lazu sumunga tesua. Te atam begenze, begenze, ma begenze, lazu sumunga tesua. Te atam begenze, begenze, ma begenze, lazu sumunga tesua. Te atam begenze, begenze, ma begenze, lazu sumunga tesua. Te atam begenze, begenze, ma begenze, lazu sumunga tesua. Te atam begenze, begenze, ma begenze, lazu sumunga tesua. Te atam begenze, begenze, ma begenze, lazu sumunga tesua. Te atam begenze, begenze, ma begenze, lazu sumunga tesua. Te atam begenze, begenze, ma begenze, lazu sumunga tesua. Te atam begenze, begenze, ma begenze, lazu sumunga tesua. Te atam begenze, begenze, ma begenze, lazu sumunga tesua. Te atam begenze, begenze, ma begenze, lazu sumunga tesua. Te atam begenze, begenze, ma begenze, lazu sumunga tesua. Te atam begenze, begenze, ma begenze, lazu sumunga tesua. Te atam begenze, begenze, ma begenze, lazu sumunga tesua. Te atam begenze, begenze, ma begenze, lazu sumunga tesua. Te atam begenze, begenze, ma begenze, lazu sumunga tesua. Te atam begenze, begenze, ma begenze, lazu sumunga tesua. Te atam begenze, begenze, ma begenze, lazu sumunga tesua. Te atam begenze, begenze, ma begenze, lazu sumunga tesua. Te atam begenze, begenze, ma begenze, lazu sumunga tesua. Te atam begenze, begenze, ma begenze, lazu sumunga tesua. Te atam begenze, begenze, ma begenze, begenze, lasse sumagate soa. Te ata begenze, begenze, ma begenze, lasse sumagate soa. Te ata begenze, begenze, ma begenze, lasse sumagate soa. Te ata begenze, begenze, ma begenze, lasse sumagate soa. Te ata begenze, begenze, ma begenze, lasse sumagate soa. Te ata begenze, begenze, ma begenze, lasse sumagate soa. Te ata begenze, begenze, ma begenze, lasse sumagate soa. Te ata begenze, begenze, ma begenze, lasse sumagate soa. Te ata begenze, begenze, ma begenze, lasse sumagate soa. Te ata begenze, begenze, ma begenze, lasse sumagate soa. Te ata begenze, begenze, ma begenze, lasse sumagate soa. Te ata begenze, begenze, ma begenze, lasse sumagate soa. Te ata begenze, begenze, ma begenze, lasse sumagate soa. Te ata begenze, begenze, ma begenze, lasse sumagate soa. Te ata begenze, begenze, ma begenze, lasse sumagate soa. Te ata begenze, begenze, ma begenze, lasse sumagate soa. Te ata begenze, begenze, ma begenze, lasse sumagate soa. Te ata begenze, begenze, ma begenze, lasse sumagate soa. Te ata begenze, begenze, ma begenze, lasse sumagate soa. Te ata begenze, begenze, ma begenze, lasse sumagate soa. Te ata begenze, begenze, ma begenze, lasse sumagate soa. Te ata begenze, begenze, ma begenze, lasse sumagate soa. Te ata begenze, begenze, ma begenze, lasse sumagate soa. Te ata begenze, begenze, ma begenze, lasse sumagate soa. Te ata begenze, begenze, ma begenze, lasse sumagate soa. Te ata begenze, begenze, ma begenze, lasse sumagate soa. Te ata begenze, begenze, ma begenze, lasse sumagate soa. Te ata begenze, begenze, ma begenze, lasse sumagate soa. Te ata begenze, begenze, ma begenze, lasse sumagate soa. Te ata begenze, begenze, ma begenze, lasse sumagate soa. Te ata begenze, begenze, ma begenze, lasse sumagate soa. Te ata begenze, begenze, ma begenze, lasse sumagate soa. Te ata begenze, begenze, ma begenze, lasse sumagate soa. Te ata begenze, begenze, ma begenze, lasse sumagate soa. Te ata begenze, begenze, ma begenze, lasse sumagate soa. Te ata begenze, begenze, ma begenze, lasse sumagate soa. Te ata begenze, begenze, ma begenze, lasse sumagate soa. Te ata begenze, begenze, ma begenze, lasse sumagate soa. Te ata begenze, begenze, ma begenze, lasse sumagate soa. Te ata begenze, begenze, ma begenze, lasse sumagate soa. Te ata begenze, begenze, ma begenze, lasse sumagate soa. Te ata begenze, begenze, ma begenze, lasse sumagate soa. Te ata begenze, begenze, ma begenze, lasse sumagate soa. Te ata begenze, 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 Maha Begenze, Rasa Sumonga Jesua, Jehata Begenze, Begenze, Maha Begenze, Rasa Sumonga Jesua, Jehata Begenze, Begenze, Maha Begenze, Rasa Sumonga Jesua, Jehata Begenze, Begenze, Ma Begenze, Rasa Sumunga Tesua. So bringing our attention back to the weight of our bodies, the seat under us, the land under us. Just letting our intention, our aspirations, our desires just continue to radiate out from us. And slowly we begin to imagine that these intentions that we're radiating out, we begin to imagine that we're radiating in, that we're absorbing these intentions back into our own bodies, into our own minds, that these intentions also become about our liberation, our well-being, our safety and health, that we get all the resources that we need to be well, that all of our relations and our descendants get what they need, as well as our ancestors. Again, letting that absorption, that focusing, relax, returning our attention back to the seat, to the earth under us. Making a final wish that all beings are freed from suffering. So begin to make our way back into the space energetically, beginning to awaken our bodies, maybe open our eyes, beginning to stretch. And then we'll turn our attention to our closing prayer, Shantideva's prayer, which we'll recite 3 times. We begin. May I be a protector to those without protection, a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space and the great elements such as earth, may I always support the life of all the boundless creatures. And until they pass away from pain, may I always be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach into the ends of space. May I be a protector to those without protection, a leader for those who journey, in a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space and the great elements such as earth, May I always support the life of all the boundless creatures. And until they pass away from pain, may I also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach into the ends of space. And finally, may I be a protector to those without protection, a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine. And may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space, the great elements such as earth, may I always support the life of all the boundless creatures. And until they pass away from pain, may I also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach into the ends of space. Okay, everyone. Thank you so much for your practice. Um, so again, yeah, we have access to all the recordings. So if you're new, feel free to go back into the past recordings and to practice with them. If you're, of course, been practicing, continue to return back to these recordings as much as you want. Um, Thank you all so much for your practice. And we're ending practice here now because I have something else to attend to tonight. So, but a nice long practice, which we haven't done in a bit. So, so in any case, to stay connected, just visit our website, boomysparsha.org. Visit my personal website, lamarod.com, for everything that I'm doing and everything that the community is doing this week as well. Okay. All right. Thank you all so much. Please have a good week, and I'll see you.